Mike. Hello, everybody. You just missed the amazing title sequence, which I added a little tweak to. But, of course, I completely forgot, ladies and gentlemen, completely forgot to go live. To say we've had some technical issues is to very clearly understate the truth. Snatching kicking in, exactly. I haven't even got my drink with me. Oh my God, that's what it is. I haven't got my focus drink.
You've got no focus.
I've got no focus drink. It's in the fridge. Anyway, welcome, chat. We apologise for the delay. I also apologise. It would have added to the anticipation because basically I added a countdown to the. That was the surprise. I'd added a countdown to the opening title sequence. Just to build up the tension, you see. I know, well, only I was watching it on the preview because I hadn't pressed, because I got bamboozled by the problems we had before. But here we are. We are exactly the gremlins. The gremlins are here, as ever, always here. But anyway, you know, the show must go on. I hope you're all, everybody's okay. I hope everybody is good. There we go. 1 second. I've got the wrong thing in there. Let me just... there we go. Right. Nobody wants to see that. There we go. 1 minute. Everybody, I just need to do a little tweak. Bear with us, please. There we go. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. I'll just do another one on here while we just... oh, no, that's all good. Right. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. As I say, without further ado, let's get on with the show after those little gremlins coming in, trying to spoil the party. Right. Welcome, one and all, to another Generation X Retro Gaming Club. Episode number 6, I do believe, ladies and gentlemen. Episode number 6. Welcome, one and all. I am, of course, Clive Illenden, and this fine fellow here is...
Rokk.
Rokk, exactly, Rokk. Tell me, Rokk, how has your gaming week been this week?
Yeah, well, it's been a bit embarrassing, Clive, really, because I haven't done much. The most I did was last Friday night, and that is really... That's been the curse because I've been putting all sort of content creatory stuff together. So yeah,
hard work, this content creation.
My gaming's been very retro, if I'm honest.
So retro, it's predates gaming.
Predates gaming,
like none at all.
Exactly, zero.
A piece of chalk and a pavement.
Rackle Welsh.
Yeah, exactly. Very little at all.
No.
Oh well, I've. But no, you were playing PUBG.
I was playing PUBG.
Well, let's wait. Let's just rewind
loosely.
That minute. Yeah,
loosely.
Let me just look in the dictionary. Playing. Yeah, with a donkey.
It was on. I mean, you know,
it
that's
was
fair
on
enough.
like Donkey Kong. Yeah. But yeah, so I saw you in your Rockstars at Night.
Yes.
Playing PUBG and having fun with the crew there.
Yeah, absolutely. That was the intent.
Any chicken dinners?
No, there was a chicken that ran across the screen from time to time.
Yeah, I did see that, and a donkey.
And a donkey.
Yeah.
Donkey. The donkey is much smaller in the future editions.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear it. Hello, Stadium Mania. Hello, Dazadini. Welcome. We've had a few technical problems, so sort of as ever, we seem to find the perfect video conferencing solution, and then about a minute before broadcast, it all goes Pete Tong. And then we swap to the other one, and exactly the same happened this week, and we swap back to the other one. Yeah. But at least we've got backups. You know, we're prepared. We're cool under fire. Don't worry. We've got it handled. Gaming-wise for me, of course, it's been more PUBG, more chicken dinners. I'm getting, you know, I was talking about it with Yoshida, and I was saying that I'm quite good at the game strategically, but obviously I've never been brilliant at PvP. So it's that helps at the end of the day to be. So I know how to sort of manage the game and what you need to do, but it would help if I was as fast and sort of accurate as my 10-year-old son, and then applied the same sort of strategic skills, then I'd probably be a lot better. But I've been playing PUBG and, of course, struggling along with Zombie Army 4.
Oh,
There's something very therapeutic about just shooting zombies, really. That's the key thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get on with the show. Chat, let me know what you've been playing, what games, and also actually chat if you have any particular questions, any retro games you want to talk about that might just sort of trigger some little trips, some little spiral trips down various little avenues and lanes and stuff like that. It's always helpful. The show is really not just about Rokk and I, it's about the audience as well. Sort of let us know any sort of retro games you've been thinking about that we can sort of talk about as well. That's always very, very useful. But generally, let's just get on with the show. In tonight's show, of course, we're going to have latest news from around the gaming world. On this week in gaming history, 64K of memories, or as Rokk likes to remind me to say, Generation X game.
Yeah,
I have to do at
week
least
by week.
Yeah, I have to do higher, lower, lower. Oh, did we do well? No, we have to do one of those every week, I think. And plus much more. But without further ado, let's just get on with the news. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get on with the news, he says as he presses the news button, and then hopefully, as if by magic, the news thing will appear, and there it is beautifully. It's like I'm a professional almost. Here we go. So this is an interesting here. So Fortnite. So I know it's not really the game of this audience, to be honest, but I just thought it's interesting. So as we know, Fortnite is available on mobile phones. It was always Epic always allowed you to sort of do a side load, which has been shut down now on Google, but it's now officially on the Google Play application, so you can get Fortnite on there. Oh, every week. Okay, Google, stop. Right. Okay, Google, stop. Thank you. Every week it butts in. Anyway, so Fortnite, so Epic Games have worked, so it's a mobile game. It's not like, I'm not talking about playing Fortnite via Stadia or GeForce Now, whatever. It's a mobile game in which you can play Fortnite on your mobile phone. But they've been working with OnePlus, phone manufacturer, to get Fortnite on mobile playing at a higher refresh rate of 90 frames per second. So obviously the OnePlus they're trying to always compete with Samsung in terms of the screen fidelity, screen performance in the phones and stuff, and that includes refresh rates, and we sort of forget about that on mobile phones. So sort of the cutting edge mobile phones are like 4K screens, trying to always push 90 frames per second refresh rate, and it was just quite interesting that it's just odd really that a mobile phone game version of a popular video game or PC game can run faster and at a higher fidelity almost on its mobile version. And in a first-person shooter game, it is really about the frames per second. It's that smoothness of the sort of moving the camera across and stuff like that. So I just thought it was quite interesting that you had 90 frames per second on a OnePlus 8 phone, and the processor on it. So it's the phones are based on a Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 processor, and the display panel's 90 hertz refresh rate allows for the higher frame rate. But it's also alongside Epic, and the necessary optimizations made it to the OnePlus specific build of Fortnite. So this Fortnite version, so they've obviously done it in partnership, is only available on the OnePlus 8 phone. But I just thought it was just an interesting little piece, really.
Yeah, although mind you, of course, if the screen was 3,000 odd pixels wide, it probably wouldn't run at 90 hertz. So there is an advantage in it being small.
True. Well, they are Fortnite. There are. That's for all the Zero Fortnite
We're gonna
fans.
make our own homemade peeps, so we know exactly what goes into them. We're actually changing them
I downloaded Fortnite the other day, Clive.
What you did?
I did.
Yeah.
On Steam. I was intrigued. Well, on Epic, in fact, I was intrigued to see it.
Intrigued.
I was intrigued, and there was a kind of Minecrafty side to it that I didn't realise would exist.
Oh yeah. Oh no, it's the buildings, all the thing.
Yeah.
You see these like 10-year-olds, 11, 12, 13-year-olds, and they just like build a tower.
Yeah.
And they got to learn how to build towers with slants, and then you can also edit a wall to put a door in, and you do it so fast. So somebody's behind the wall. You edit that wall, put a door in, or a window, put the window in, fire in, close it up. It's like it's all within like a split second.
No.
And my son, he practices day to day, like building fast, so that you're sort of building around rather than just sort of building up. That you're
wow.
And it's a sort of defense mechanism. I can't, and you need to really get into it.
Yeah.
I can't, because I can't build in it at that speed. I'm still looking down like a like a moron.
Where's the chimney?
Exactly. But it's all part of a defense mechanism. Anyway, Fortnite's not really a Generation X retro gaming game, but it was interesting.
Will be one day.
90. Well, yeah. Who knows? That reminds me, I should tell you about the 90-year-old woman who plays Skyrim. She's taking a break from her Twitch streaming. True story. Anyway, the other news story, not that one, although that is quite interesting. The other news story here, just again, ahead of Madden 21, so this is for all the US audience out there, the NFL will vote on EA remaining exclusive simulation game developer. So basically, not earth-shattering news, but EA will remain the exclusive developer of the simulation games. Now, it's quite interesting how they've... I used to work with a lawyer in Denmark, and he described the rights as sort of salami slicing. You have a sort of set of rights, and then you see if you can then kind of make more rights out of those single rights. So this deal that EA will have with the NFL is not an exclusive game development deal, because 2K Sports are also making NFL games. So what the exclusive deal is simulation games.
Right.
Yeah, so it's just how they've sort of salamied those rights, to be very precise. So that the NFL can then sell more of the rights to other people. So I don't know what sort of games 2K Sports make, but more sort of fun, sort of maybe street NFL or whatever, that kind of thing. Or like, it'd be like FIFA doing a five-a-side soccer or street soccer type
college
thing.
But presumably they still haven't voted on this, so they could still turn around and
I think it's
a done deal.
Yeah, done deal.
Yeah.
The quote here from Albert Breer: another big voting matter for next week's virtual owners meeting. NFL teams. It's interesting that the NFL teams have to vote on it. Will ratify a 5-year extension of the video game licensing agreement with EA Sports right through to the 2026 season. This would take you through to Madden NFL 27. Apparently,
if the great man's still with us, because he is in his 80s now, isn't he?
Yeah, I think they'd still call it Madden, wouldn't they?
They would.
Franchise,
Yeah, Madden Rip.
Yeah, Madden Rip.
But I think they paid about 350 odd million, didn't they, last time for the exclusivity? It's on their Wikipedia, I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Anyway, so that's the Madden story. Other news as well. So Minecraft has obviously been around a long, long time. We're going to get another noisy video in a minute. There we are. Minecraft has been obviously around for a long, long time, but for the first time it's not actually the first time, because they did a story version of Minecraft. I seem to remember. Where's my news button? There it is. So Minecraft Dungeons is released. I think this is a fairly worthy news story, because Minecraft is such a massively popular game. So Microsoft have launched their Minecraft Dungeons, introduces an all-new gameplay to the blocky world you know and love. So it's a sort of a puzzle game, a dungeon-crawling Minecraft spin-off that's all about exploring dangerous and mystery dungeons, fighting enemies, collecting loot, and defeating bosses. So it's a sort of 3D top-down adventure game where you explore dungeons, solve puzzles, etc., etc. Out on PC, Xbox One, PS4, and the Nintendo Switch. But it's always a big thing when they launch these Minecraft games, and no doubt there'll be many a streamer and YouTuber paid a substantial amount of money to stream their versions of them playing the game and stuff like that. So Minecraft is launched. I think you've got some stories here. So
yeah, I sneaked a couple in.
I did. Let me call those up. Start with this Guinness World Record thingy.
Yeah. You've got it up on your screen. Okay. Yeah. So basically, Guinness World Records.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Do you know what? I've had to actually turn off the old ad blocker thing. Every time you go to a site now, it says, "Do you really want to put that on?" And I've kind of, I'll turn it off all the time now. But yeah, so this is quite a funny story. So Guinness World Records made a load of videos of a guy called, I think it was called, let me see, where's the name? Cosmos or Cosmic.
Speedrunner Cosmic.
Yeah, so old Cosmic, world record holder for speedrunning in Mario. And Guinness made a load of videos of this, and which they're very proud of. And then a little while later, he suddenly had all of his videos taken down. And it turns out that because they had snippets of his videos, they claimed ownership.
Yeah.
So he literally lost all of that. They rectified it in time, and they said, "Oh, it was an overzealous bot."
Yeah, that's what happens to these things.
Yeah, but it was a shame because he put a lot of effort into running his Marios.
Yeah, so he did. He set the record for the warpless category, whatever that is. Chat, maybe you can inform us. The warpless category in Super Mario Brothers, clocking a time of just under 19 minutes, which obviously garnered the attention of Guinness, who reached out to Cosmic to create a video profile of him. And I think it's the fact that it's Guinness, a big profile brand showing copyright material. I'm not sure how. I mean, Nintendo have had a funny relationship, I think, initially with streamers and stuff.
Are they?
But obviously, yeah, I think initially, but I think that's changed now. But I think it's the fact that there's a big brand that the bots probably triggered the bots.
Well, it was Guinness that pulled them. So they triggered the pulling of Cosmic's videos, despite the fact that they weren't theirs in the first place. But it was all good in the end, and they brought them all back. And I'm sure he's now busily readying his 18-minute warpless speed run somewhere. Bless him. So that was that one. I had one more as well.
Oh yeah, so I got the wrong around. I thought it was Nintendo. So it was Guinness approached him to make him do a video profile,
exactly.
And then their bot said, "Oi, that's our material."
Exactly. You see, that's the irony. It's an ironic story.
Oh, I get it now. I misunderstood that bit. So okay. So one arm of Guinness World Records is saying to him, "Oh, we'd love to do a profile on you and put together your speedruns as part of the sort of gaming category in the Guinness World Book of Records video YouTube channel, Yes. And he's going, "Oh, brilliant. Okay,
exactly.
Here you go. I've done a video for you." Yeah. And then the overzealous bots from the legal department, obviously not talking to their PR department, said, "Wait a minute, that's our material. That's a world record speedrun, and we have that." Yeah, they have these content ID systems, and like your videos have these sort of invisible ID, and then big corporations instantly know when. That's why you get these instant copyright strikes.
Okay.
It's not a person going, just so happened to be that 1 second you play their copyright material happened to be passing your YouTube video. It's these bots that just go around doing it.
So they're embedded video in the same way that photo libraries embed invisible watermarks. Is that essentially how they work then?
So you can sort of put this sort of content ID on your material, you work with YouTube on it, and then and then you have these bots that automatically scan YouTube for that content ID. So it's like some sort of like a tag. Yeah.
Oh, well, anyway, old Cosmic knows all about that, bless him.
Yeah, bless him, he does.
He went running straight to Guinness, as many people do on a Friday.
Yeah, I bet he did. All right, so you got another story here. Twitch Prime members.
Yeah, well, I was thinking more about you on this one, Clive.
Oh, yeah, me.
You love all the old Japanese stuff. It doesn't really do it for me. But Twitch Prime members get more than 20 free...
Japanese games. Yeah.
Japanese, no, as opposed to anything else.
Yeah.
20 free SNK games this summer. And they're the Geo Neo boys, aren't they, SNK?
I think so, yeah. Look at this. Yeah. So, Art of Fighting 2, Blazing Star, Fatal Fury Special, King of Fighters. Oh, yeah, King of Fighters. Samurai Showdown 2.
Yeah. So they've got some old and some new, but lots of retro stuff. And it's 20 games,
Metal
and that
Slug
starts
2,
today. Drops from today. Now I don't know, because I know absolutely zippity doodah about Geo Neo and SNK, whether or not you need those systems or whether they'll run on a PC under some form of emulation. But either way,
exactly. Yeah, I wonder how they sort of. They must be some sort of PC version of them.
Yeah.
In some way and it's interesting that they've done. Twitch have done some sort of deal with the SNK to acquire these things. Let's just play the video and see.
It's just a load of clips of the games, but they are pretty impressive.
Neo Geo. Yeah, look at that classic.
So that's not a bad old deal. 20 free games starting from today. 22, beg your pardon.
Especially if you're into big into the retro games.
Yes.
They're pretty cool looking games.
Yes.
Look at this Samurai Showdown 2 compared to Samurai Showdown now.
I know. I wasn't going to draw a comparison. They've improved it somewhat.
That's quite cool. I know a lot of people are big into those Neo Geo and SNK games like that. They do look cool.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So
King of Fighters, King of the Monsters, Metal Slug 2, Insert Coin. Yeah, there's some real
King of the Monsters. Yeah,
there's some real sort of classic arcade games in there as well, which is kind of quite interesting. Yeah, that's a good find. That is good find. I like that little news story.
Yeah, there you go.
Anyway, that, ladies and gentlemen, that's the news. That's the news of the week. Some interesting thing, and I think you did better on the retro news. To be honest, you managed to combine the two.
I do try.
You do. That was very well. I just had like current news. It sort of always feels a bit out of place in a retro gaming show. When I follow all these retro gaming things on Twitter, and they're showing off their old collection of, cartridges and stuff that they've still got, or old consoles. But that, especially that SNK story, is very interesting. I think if you're a Twitch primer, I think that's a definite. I'd be interested to see, as you say, whether there's some sort of emulation or whatever. Yeah. So chat, let us know what you think there. There's a Deanie in there, yes. Stream Elements bot is there. Hello, Stream Elements bot. I didn't tell you I got the assistance of Stream Elements bot. I don't know what it's going to do for us, but you never know. Mariko's dabbing in there. Hello, Mariko. Ray Sherrod. Hello.
It's young Ray.
Stadium Mania. I hope everyone is in chat. Hi, Ray. Hope you're well. All having a good conversation. That's what we like. Right then, ladies and gentlemen, we move now swiftly, smoothly, like the smooth, mean machine we are, to on this week in gaming history. And on this week in gaming history, ladies and gentlemen, we've got three major anniversaries that occurred this week. A 20-year anniversary for a certain game, a 30-year anniversary for a certain game, and a 40-year anniversary for a certain game. So it's quite a week. I was trying to think why that might be. And
Why
I
would
think,
be this week?
yeah, and I think is it to do with the sort of that Memorial Weekend sort of bank holiday? Is it like a season, like one of the release dates in the calendar for big things?
Could well be, actually. Just ahead of the summer.
Yeah, I was interested. Anyway, this week, and because some of them are on the same day as well, they occurred like the 22nd of May. So basically, this week, 40 years ago, I wonder you can guess what was released. I'll give you a clue. I wonder if you can guess what was released.
Look at Speedy and Pinky.
Yeah, and in orange here, Clyde.
Yes.
In orange.
Ah,
Clyde.
but they've misspelt your name.
Yeah. So I go for it. Clyde in orange. And if the audience is willing to bear with me for 1 second.
Oh, but there he goes. There's Cosmic doing his Mario speed run, and he's back.
That's why I wear orange partly. I of all the Pac-Man I associate myself with.
Clyde. Oh wow, there is a definite similarity. Oh no, that one's closer to me. He's got my lobster complexion. Look at that. Wasn't Clyde the orangutan as well?
Yes, he was. Okay, he didn't wear orange.
No,
he was orange.
Yeah.
Look. And I'm going to hold all three up here.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
I know
Your
it's
mission is I'm going to go back to the main shot because you need to see this clearly, ladies and gentlemen. Look. Coasters.
Are they?
Yes.
They're lovely.
I have them active in my room because also, and I was going to post a picture. In fact, while we're talking, I'll show you. This is all a bit impromptu, but I'll share a picture I took earlier today that I was going to share with the class. I'm going to share with the class. Let's see if I can get this. Here we go. I also have artwork that everyone will see in a minute when it catches up on YouTube. But I have wall art.
Oh yes.
Of Pac-Man. So there we are. It's not a shrine. I don't have a shrine to Pac-Man or anything like that.
Well, just a bit.
I love. Well, I liked the picture first, and then I was out and I saw these coasters. And then this is not one of my designs. This is an official Bandai Namco Uniqlo shirt. So I've got this from Uniqlo. They did a deal with Bandai Namco and had some classic Bandai Namco IP.
Very nice.
Yeah. See, we've got a little score at the bottom.
I do like that photo, Clive, as well, with you with the pictures just kind of sliding off the wall.
Yeah. It's because I'm leaning over. Yeah.
You sure? It's like a perspective thing.
It's like 1930s German cinematography, except in bright colour.
Yes.
And with Pac-Man.
And no uniforms.
It's Nosferatu, if anybody knows what Nosferatu.
Yes, exactly.
The coffins filled with dirt. Of course, you can't hear it because it's in silence.
No,
but it says it. Coffins. Imagine it's got coffins filled with dirt. Nosferatu. Anyway, that was my impression of the famous 1930s expressionist horror film Nosferatu, ladies and gentlemen.
Incredibly impressive.
Yeah, exactly. I do also. I don't do impressions. I do impressions of films, not just any films as well. 1930s German expressionism films.
I do a really good impression of a rice pudding.
Yeah.
That's the only film I could impress you with.
What, rice pudding?
A rice pudding film. Yeah.
My dad used to refer to me as a rice pudding, and I forgot why now.
Oh. Was it your milky complexion?
No, I was like about you're about as useless as a rice pudding or something. Sorry, I can't remember what it was anyway.
Oh, mate.
No, I'm not. You know, he was probably right in the situation. Anyway, back
Rein it
back
back
to
in.
the
Rein
news.
it back in.
Yeah.
Pull it
So
back in.
look, Pac-Man is a massive industry now. So it's 40 years ago, born on May the 22nd. I think the guy was Mr. Suzuka. Oh, I should know, really, shouldn't I?
San Kashkai, I think his name was.
He appeared in that terrible film with Adam. Who's that?
Son?
Yeah. Yes. Am I thinking of Adam Sandler? Yes. Where they tried to recreate. Yeah, they did. So they did like a sort of Ghostbusters meets 1980s arcade games thing, where all these aliens came down to Earth, but they sort of came down in the form of 1980s arcade characters.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway,
the
creator of Pac-Man had a cameo in it, and he was eaten by a giant Cat-Man on 42nd Street or on Fifth Avenue or something like that. Anyway, the film was a great concept, but that's perhaps where it should have stayed. Anyway, yeah, so they had these massive giant 3D Pac-Man, and then and so the idea is that the president calls on these ex-40-something retro gamers who were all experts in Pac-Man and arcade games from the 80s to combat these aliens that are disguised as 1980s arcade game. Yeah, just go with me in this. And in order to capture the Pac-Man, they have to drive minis that look like Inky, Blinky, and Clyde through the streets of Manhattan, being chased by a giant yellow Pac-Man. Go with me.
This was Pixels, presumably.
No, it wasn't. It was a sort of a poor man's Pixar type thing. You know.
No, the film was called
Pixels. That's it. Pixels. That's the film.
Yes.
Yeah.
2015.
Yeah. It's all right.
I didn't even know this existed.
Yeah.
Clive.
Oh my God. There's some amusing bits in it, but it's just not very good. Anyway, the point is, born May 22nd, 1980, Pac-Man. I love Pac-Man. Still like Pac-Man, and they still do versions of it. I played it on Xbox recently, and they've sort of make it sort of slightly 3D and more whizzy, so the screen sort of flips into a sort of 3D scenario. It's much faster, and then the score's very arcadey, sort of spins into your face, and like it's all fast and noisy and crazy, but there's still the same principle applies. But yeah, so May the 2nd, 22nd, 1980, Pac-Man immediately rose to meteoric popularity. First in the video game arcades, of course in the arcades, and then in general branding everywhere. So there's even soundtracks, believe it or not. Let's see if I can. We'll probably get copyright.
When did Pac-Man come into the whole
soon after, but I don't know if I should play. So see here on Spotify here, Pac-Man and Gallagher. Yeah.
Liam
Gallagher. No, not Liam Gallagher.
All right.
Boom. Batman and Gallagher Dimensions. Yeah,
But
I won't play it because I don't want to get. Even though some of the tracks on it are only literally 3 seconds long. It is an album that you can buy from Namco Sounds, Pac-Man Dimensions, as I say, of Pac-Man related tracks. I'm tempted. Should I just play? They won't copyright strike us if I just play a little.
The worst that can happen is to take all our money away, Clive, which would be negative naught.
Oh right, yeah. Well, we better be careful with that. Yeah, I'm just gonna play a little bit for the benefit of the audience. I think I think people get, yeah, you see, now it's coming through to you. I can see he's on his delayed YouTube.
Nice.
He's watching it.
I'm
Yeah.
just pretending.
Yeah, oh no, it was good. It's good. Very boppy music. You know, if it wasn't copyrighted, I'd use it. I'd use it for our stream. But yeah, so it's a massive now. A whole Pac-Man, of course, is a massive IP franchise. There's funky clothes and everything you can get for it. And as I say, this is the official site here. But look at merch. Everything's got merch.
So it's still
Tamagotchi, Pac-Man Tamagotchi. Get that? There's a lot of other merch they've got.
And it's all still owned by Bandai.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at these dudes here. I'll show you just not you and me. Other dudes I'm talking about. The Pac-Man collection combination with the popular oversized design because of the big baggy t-shirts. The thing is what the kids in the street. Elements to evoke memory of childhood. Yeah, but not if you're like an 18-year-old. Like these models are, like 18, 19. They don't have a memory of the child of a Pac-Man.
No, they've got no idea. They think it's a half-eaten digestive.
Exactly. Anyway, funky stuff. But there's more, ladies and gentlemen. There's more. And I'm going to share it with you, whether you like it or not. Here we go. A little bit of... let's go full screen. This is just about the anniversary. Yeah, no, that was just a little thing just talking about the anniversary from Bandai. So, yeah, it's a big IP branding exercise now. I mean, they still do games and different versions of it, but it's, you know, you get T-shirts, bags, the works, Tamagotchis, as I said, everything really. It's a big franchise, and it's 40 years old this week, which means that we must have been like 11 or 12, like when it came out.
I think you were only 3.
Yeah, I think I wasn't even born.
No.
Yeah, I wish. Right, not that I'd never been born. That'd be terrible.
It would also be very weird.
Yeah. Wow, be like, am I here?
Existentialism. Is he free?
That's the only reason the only reason I do this. It's like, because if you're in a forest and a tree falls down, can anybody hear it? And it's the sort of same in my life. I'm locked in. If I'm talking, do I exist? Because nobody can hear me. So, but if I stream, then I exist.
We know exactly where you are at all times.
I even have to say I have my ringtone is the Pac-Man song tune. Actually, the actual original Pac-Man thing. I'm not going to play it now, but original. So when my phone goes off in the office, it's very annoying, but slightly amusing because you get that and then the full-on music play. Yeah. So anyway, that's the 40th anniversary, but there's more, ladies and gentlemen. There's more. I'm going to jump slightly here, and this is a small one here, and I don't know whether I can really include this in. We still in the news? Yeah, let's go to the news. Where we can include this, but in retro gaming sort of circles, but it is a retro game in fairness. Microsoft Solitaire. Yeah, Microsoft Solitaire turns 30 years old today.
Wow.
I remember this is sort of people used to play in their inverted commas lunch hour at work for hours and hours. But I remember this is sort of mind sweep. But there's still, let's just say, some older people in the office, which in my world is quite rare, that older people in the office. But there was an older person in the office I used to walk past at lunchtime. This was like maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And this person would still be playing Solitaire, Microsoft Solitaire, on her computer, as if there was like nothing else to do, like watch YouTube, surf the web or something. It's like, no, I'll just play
All those
Microsoft
cat
Solitaire.
hours lost.
Yeah, but it just, I mean, I remember back in the 90s playing it in the office when people went, I'm bored, I'm going to play a bit of Solitaire. Boss isn't looking. Whip out the Solitaire on Microsoft. That and the Minesweep. But yeah, very, very strange. But 30 years old. Microsoft Solitaire game is turning 30 years old today. And Microsoft is celebrating the occasion with a world record attempt of the most games of Microsoft Solitaire completed in one day. 35 million people still play Solitaire.
All of them in old folks' homes.
35 million people, according to Microsoft. 35 million people still play this game. With more than 100 million of hands played daily around the world. It dates back to 1990. That's what I said, early 90s. Windows 3.0.
Windows 3, my favourite version.
Oh, God, Lord. Anyway, so that was 30 years ago. But there's more. Oh, yeah. It keeps on coming, this celebration.
Spoil us, Ambassador.
Yes, I am. Why are you spoiling us? Right. There is more, ladies and gentlemen. And I'll tell you what it is. It is, in fact, now this is quite interesting. And partly because I was reading this article. This is now, so we're going back to sort of really cool classic games that sort of changed the industry a bit. And this is Perfect Dark. So Perfect Dark was apparently released again 20 years ago. It was launched in May 2000. And this was, of course, was the follow-up for following the massive success of GoldenEye by Rare Works, or Rare as they now know, but Rare Works. And there's a really fascinating article, and what I'll do, in fact, I'm going to link this. I'll leave a link in the description, but people should really read it because it's a really long. It's a long read, as they call them nowadays. A really long read here about the history of the development behind it, and it's just really an interesting look into those sort of early 2000s life in a development studio at the top of its game. You had key members of the senior development team leaving. It was a family run, two brothers, the Rare co-founders, Tim and Chris Stamper, who kind of ran the place in a kind of quite draconian way, but were quite, paid well, but everybody had to work hard. And in it's an interview with some of the developers who were key to the game and how sometimes they were doing 90-hour weeks, 100-hour weeks. But at the time, they didn't mind, and they were like, young guys in their 20s. They haven't got families and stuff like that, and they were like, "It's what you did." And there's a real sort of hard-working, well, maybe sort of over-the-top hard-working ethic now if we look back at it. But it really goes in the height of those early 2000s, the pressure on developers to kind of get games done by a certain time, to try and push the tech, and Perfect Dark pushed the tech. And so much so that it required the 4 megabit expansion pack for the N64. So what they wanted to do, they were offered the opportunity, I think, to do the follow-up to GoldenEye, but they sort of turned it down because I think they felt constrained by the story of James Bond, and they wanted to really sort of free it up and have more freedom to create it. And also EA outbid I think Nintendo on the rights, on the James Bond rights anyway. So they decided they were going to do Perfect Dark and basically put into that all the things they kind of wanted to put into GoldenEye but couldn't. And it's even today it's considered one of the sort of a real pioneering game, one of the best. Some people could describe it as one of sort of the best, effectively first-person type shooters, or those shooter games at the time. And Rare continue. Rare at the time, they pushed the boundaries of what could be achieved with GoldenEye, and they pushed them even further. And with Perfect Dark, and of course had Joanna Dark, who was the main character in it, partly named, and they said they spent hours and hours, weeks and weeks trying to come up with a character name. Basically, it's meant to be based around Joan of Arc, hence Joanna Dark. But it's also a really cool name. And then Perfect Dark, so they sort of wrote on a board, like you just they had a name generator that threw words together, and just like kept running that until something came up, and I think they ended up with Perfect Dark, and they had the character name that based loosely around the idea of Joan of Arc and Joanna Dark, and Jeanne d'Arc, of course, is the French name. Jeanne d'Arc.
Looks like Perfect Dank on my screen.
Yeah, yeah. But I played it recently on the Xbox, oddly enough, because obviously Rare is owned by Microsoft, and they re-released it. It sort of stands up. It's still a bit, it's not like a third-person shooter type thing now, or first-person shooter now, obviously. But you could see it was a bit ahead of its time at during the time. So let me know, chat, whether any of you played Perfect Dark. I highly recommend reading this article. This is into an in-depth dive with the actual guys who built the deal. Built the development, built the game, did development deals with out in America. So really on the coalface, really, with developing it, and just a real insight into what it was like to be working at a developer that was under immense pressure, the top of its game, two very draconian brothers who ran it as a family business, and what they said when, yeah.
And I imagine in those days, Clive, they didn't have the kind of universal game engines that they.
No, they built their own engine for this.
Yeah,
and then they redeveloped the engine specifically for Perfect Dark. Dazadini says that Rare did Sea of Thieves. They did indeed, and that's one of the reasons I got Xbox Games Pass, was so that because it was Microsoft's first big day-on-day launch of a major game, in-house game that was available to buy and basically launched Xbox Games Pass. And to me, I thought, well, you could either pay 50 quid for the game, or get Games Pass, get the game for free, and loads of other games.
No brainer.
Yeah, and I love Sea of Thieves. I put a lot of hours into Sea of Thieves. In fact, I'm a legend.
Well, that's a question.
Yeah. I'm a legend in Sea of Thieves, so I got legend status. I did it within the year of it coming out, just by about 10 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah. It's one of these games in which a bit like Destiny as well. To level up, the higher you get, the more incrementally harder it gets or the more you have to do. So like the first few levels, you find a few treasure chests and you I've gone up a level. But then you get to levels 47, 48, you have to get level 50 on 3 different categories to become a legend. When you get to level sort of 47, 48, you have to do so much just to move that incremental sort of dial up a little bit more. Wow. So it's like one of those. And so I was grinding for hours and hours, just because I was determined, because I knew I was in the 40s on the 3 categories, and I was sort of determined to make legend before the first year anniversary of the game. But now I play everything on stages, so I don't really go back to it. And also I played just on Sea of Thieves. I mostly played solo, which is quite hard to, if you've got a galleon, because you can have a galleon, a crew basically of 4 on a galleon, and you can spread the labor, but you all get the same points. You all get the same sort of rewards.
Oh right.
So
is it even harder if there are more of you?
No. I mean, it's slightly harder controlling a galleon,
right,
than it is a sloop. So a sloop, you can either be a single, or you could try a galleon on your own, and I have done it, but it's virtually impossible. But a sloop is ideal for 1 or 2. It's much more maneuverable. but a galleon is much larger, faster, and but the point is, there's 4 of you. What happens is you dig up a treasure chest and take it back to the boat. Say if you've got to find 4 treasure chests on an island, if you're on your own, you've got to find the treasure chest, dig it up, take it back to the boat. Go and find the other one, dig it up, take it back to the boat. If there's 4 of you, each one of you could go and find each individual treasure chest, bring it back to the boat. That's that job done. That's that island ticked off. So you can sort of, with a good crew, you can sort of cream through the levels a lot quicker than trying to do everything on your own.
Yeah.
Everything is like labor intensive on your own. And then when you get shot, you've got to bail out your boat. You've got to fire the cannons. Oh, I was a mug. But anyway, we're not here to talk about Sea of Thieves. But
The point is, when you became legend in Sea of Thieves, your dad had no way could he classify you as a rice pudding anymore.
No, exactly. And I did it live on Mixer.
Did you? What, the last 10 minutes?
Well, the last 3 hours. So that was, I streamed a lot. When I was streamed on Mixer, it was mostly Sea of Thieves.
Right.
And again, a bit like Stadia, but on a smaller level. There's a massive content creator group for Sea of Thieves, massive. So a bit like Stadia, we have there was a small group of us that created content around it, mostly just like live streaming and stuff. And sometimes we'd jump in each other's streams and join each other on a boat, whatever, and do stuff. But anyway, I love Sea of Thieves. It's a great game. Great game. But we're not here to talk about Sea of Thieves. We're talking about Rare. I know, we're Rare. We're talking about Rare. Anyway, that was, ladies and gentlemen, sorry for that little start. I get sent
the
down
old
these little
days.
alleys.
Talk about the old days, mate.
I know. Well, this was the old days. This was before Stadia days, yeah?
Pre-Stadia,
BS. Yeah, BS, we say. Yeah, bullshit. No, before Stadia. Before Stadia. To me, is retro. You know,
exactly.
That's how I look at Stadia, really.
Yeah.
Like anything before that's retro. Talk about retro gaming. We're in the future, baby.
Yeah.
Anyway, that, ladies and gentlemen, are all those 3 games: the Pac-Man, Perfect Dark, Microsoft Solitaire, were all released this week. 40 years ago, 20 years ago, and 30 years ago. So there we go. That was 64K. No, that wasn't. That was on this week. Yes, on this week in gaming history. Coming up, ladies and gentlemen, is 64K of memories. So get your voting fingers ready, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, yes.
Although I'm not playing to win this week. It's just a curiosity that I bring to you. But you know. Hold your fire on this, and as we go down here, 64K of memories and a little trip down Electric Avenue, as we say. So this game came out. It's more than a game, actually. This is a game. This is also a bit of hardware I'm talking about in my selection this week. And this came out about 2003 on the PlayStation 2, and it came with a peripheral. It came with a peripheral, not a profiterole.
No,
that would be good. A PlayStation 2 profiterole. Creamy.
Yes.
No.
Perfect Dark with custard.
Yes, exactly. Perfect Dark with custard. That sounds very after dark. That is definitely after hours. Strike that. Edit. Can we edit this out?
Yeah.
Edit that out. Edit
take it out in post,
mate.
Take
it out in post. Yeah.
All good.
Anyway, so yes, it came with, this is a PlayStation 2 game, and it came with a peripheral. And what I really liked about it is I believe the development team worked on it. So it was a PlayStation game. I think it was in-house Sony team who worked on it. And I think it was an in-house UK Sony team who worked on it. Despite having a very, well, maybe, a sort of a Japanese style to it in a certain degree, but it certainly in the UK marketing and the UK presentation was very quirky. What I'm going to show now is the marketing video for the US, which unfortunately for the product is really dull. and we can sort of compare it to the setup video that came with it, which was created by the UK team, and you'll see what I mean about the US version. It's just such a cliche the way they market it. Whereas you look at, it's not even a marketing video that I'm going to show in the UK version. It's actually the setup video, but it's more amusing and quirky than the very straightforward US sort of sell. But this is it, ladies and gentlemen. Cut to the news.
It's wacky. It's wild. It's groovy. It's a cool way for us to play. It's the new iToy.
The whole idea for the iToy was to create a brand new way for people to play games.
It's the iToy for PlayStation 2.
A wide group of people who just are intimidated by the controller, and we wanted to give them an experience. It's like interactive gaming. So we were using a camera as the input device.
So it came with this camera.
It's so simple, and it's very intuitive. You're the controller. You don't have to delve into a big 30-page manual.
So it came with a little turn. They just waffle on it there, waffling on there.
The idea behind it is to have a more flexible.
But anyway, it came with this camera. And I remember, so I was working for Lego Games at the time, and when it came out, we got it in the office almost the day it was released, and we plugged it in, and it was just absolutely fascinating. And you can basically use the idea, the concept was use your body as the controller, and so you can see from the yes, it was, but it predated that. But it just graphically, the i2 games had this very sort of cartoony look, and you see your picture in the frame, and then you could do. There's one that I love. There was a boxing one, and you just like punch, and then you sort of punch this cartoon character, and he would punch back. You could try and knock him out. And then there was a karate one, and it had these sort of old, like 1970s dubbed karate sounds of that kind of whack when you do a karate chop, whack, 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 when you hit him, and it was just so much fun. And it just was so distracting when it was in the office, because you just go, when nobody's, I'll just have a quick game, and I remember I immediately bought one for my home. But I'm going to show you the setup video now. This American video, it's like a cereal advert, you know. It's like, hey, this new crazy game. And it's like, oh, what? No, get out. So when you got it, of course, you needed to know how to set the thing up. So what they did is with it came, just get my, bear a minute. With it came, where's my script? With it came an instruction video that came along with it. So if I just press that button there, and it was just really clever way of doing it, and you'll see what I mean. So I'm going to play the video now. This is how you effectively set up the game. This is the one here. iToy. Yeah, here we go. Yep, this is the one. So this is how you would set up the game.
Welcome to the world of iToy. Now you're probably raring to get going with it, but if you haven't played games using iToy before, there's just a few things you need to know to help you get the most fun out of it. It's really very simple. The only other things you'll need are a console, a TV, and yes, a player. Yes, you'll do fine. Now, first, plug the iToy USB camera into either of the two USB connectors.
I just love the really quirky way
Then, place the camera
they put this instruction piece together with this sort of
immediately above it.
cut out sort of old woman.
Stand back 1.5 to 2 meters. That's better. You need to make sure that your image is in the center of the screen. If it is not, gently tilt the camera up.
And then they've got that guy who does impressionists. So he sort of sounds slightly. He always does Patrick Moore impressions. If you're not in the UK, you might not know who Patrick Moore was. But it's the same guy. What's his name? He used to do those impressions of Patrick Moore. John somebody or other.
Sessions.
No. Will come on if you are too dark. So just make yourself a little brighter. Now You are ready
So it's
to
sort of
play.
he's doing, and he used to
No
do Tom
controller
Baker
in
impressions.
iToy.
So it's sort of
You
got that
are the controls.
Patrick
That's
Moore
right.
and
Just move your arms, your head,
Tom Baker
or any
kind of
part your
sound.
body. But obviously, make
Long
sure you have
sessions,
enough
was it?
room to play.
Used
No,
to do.
no, it'll come to me in a minute.
If you should need to stop the game, just place your hand right in front of the camera.
But this whole setup, how to set it up, was really just I just was actually on the disc how to set it up, and it just straight away it put you in the mood for this sort of quirky, weird
Have fun playing iToy.
game.
Goodbye.
Unfortunately, all the videos I can find, none of them really do real justice to the. Yeah, none of them really do real justice to the actual game itself, but it was just a lot of. I just remember it was a lot of fun, and it really had a. John Coleshaw, thank you, David Handley. Yes, John Coleshaw. That's the person I was thinking of.
We're taking a look at the iToy.
Right. Anyway, so that was my game, ladies, the iToy. It came with a karate game, a boxing game, a kind of spin the plates game, and in a way it was like augmented reality. I could see games like that still kind of working in a certain way. I don't know. The problem is that you had the camera over the device for it to work, whereas now with your mobile phone and augmented realities, you're sort of looking at your phone, so you can't actually be in it so much unless you do a sort of selfie.
But it worked well.
Yeah, it did. The camera was really advanced. It was a really good USB camera, oddly enough.
Because I'd not heard of this. And
You've never heard the iToy?
Never heard of it.
Oh,
I'm
it's
baffled
great.
as to how it had been. It looks really good, and yet.
When I loved playing, it was so. Yeah, I love playing. Well, there's an iToy 3. I think they went up to version 3 of the collection of games you could get. I don't know if they changed the iToy itself, the camera, but the camera was quite ahead of its time. But the games were just really with these sort of crazy cartoony. And the karate one I absolutely loved because you had these sort of karate characters jumping off out of sort of temples at you, and you'd go like you'd be standing in the middle going. And they go, bah, bah. When you felt like you were in some sort of cartoony karate game, you know. Anyway, that was my game, you know,
That was very good.
Of yesteryear, as it were, the PlayStation 2 iToy. There we go. A bit different this time, a bit different, but I thought I'd go for it.
No, see, I never really got involved with PlayStation until the 3. So it all passed me by. I was impressed with that. Very good.
Thank you. Right, your game.
Yes.
I'll fire up the YouTube for you.
I'm afraid I'm bringing another classic, Clive.
Yeah, I know you've gone for the classic. Let me just. Wait. I just
They all know anyway. They've seen the script all.
yeah, exactly. It's in the script. I've just got to. I thought I'd pause that a minute there. Stop that. Stop it.
New buttons are yours, mate.
Yeah. Right. Let me just get the news source. Right, here we go. Right, there it is. It's on screen now.
Wow.
You can talk about it.
It was Lemmings. One of my all-time favorite games. In fact, funnily enough, watching the video back earlier, researching this, I was desperate to jump in and play it. It's such a great game. Not just a platformy type game, not just a kind of boulder dash diggy kind of game, but you had all the little tools and the little bits and pieces that you could collect that allowed you, so you could choose a lemming that was going to blow something up to make space for the other lemmings to follow.
Okay.
Did you not play this game?
I remember it, yeah, but I don't.
It was.
I knew it was massive at the time.
It was massive. Yeah, it was developed by DMA, which was a studio up in Scotland in Dundee, and published by Psygnosis, who, of course, a legendary publisher from our day.
For Sony, yeah, they did a lot of Sony games. They
amazing times.
Yeah,
they really were. And this was absolutely one of the most successful. Such a simple game. Such a simple game. Apparently, even the characters were designed in 3D Paint, Windows 3D Paint.
It looks it. It looks it. Yeah.
Deluxe Paint. But you would basically have the premise of the game was that you couldn't stop these guys from moving forward. They'd always follow the guy at the front.
Yeah.
But you had to get them through a bunch of obstacles, and you'd give each one of them a little job that would help the others.
So there was that digging guy I saw there who's digging down, so they all fall down the
Yeah, so you knew that at some point you needed a fella to dig, and so you'd give that one the task of digging. Now, you could put a blocker so that the others that were going over him as he was digging would stop and have to come back again. And then you'd have a guy with an umbrella, and he would float down, and then he could do something else. And you had to kind of think all the way ahead of yourself and what you want to get those different characters to do. And on top of all that was a great theme tune and lovely little sound effects. It really was a great game. And I think they went on to develop quite a few offshoots. There were some 3D ones and some quite extensive ones. But I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere in the great, wide, wonderful world of gaming, you can still get it in one form or another. And I wouldn't even be surprised if it made a comeback, because it's a very addictive little title.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So David Hanley there, he says Rokk for the win. So we're going to ignore everything. We're going to ban him. Can we? Can we? Block David Hanley, yeah, because he doesn't know what he's talking about. Yeah, block it. Thank you. Just get him out of here. Yeah. Where's the bouncers? Get him out of the chat. No, but seriously, he's saying on the Amiga, question mark?
Yes, that was the Amiga version, if that was the link I gave you.
Yes,
but it made its way across to most platforms eventually. And as I say, it even evolved with the console. So there were other versions that were more graphically adept, and there were bigger lemmings with more detail and stuff. But the basic premise always remained the same, and it really is a very addictive little game.
Dazadini says the nuke button was epic.
It was. Boom! Everything went. It would be a really good mobile phone game, actually. I'm surprised that they haven't brought it back, because it really, it could be a good, because it would work well with just having to touch. So you tap on a lemming and then tap on a tool and get him to do something. So it could actually work really well as a touch-based game. So I'm surprised that hasn't happened. If it hasn't, it may have done, for all I know.
So also Dazadini is saying here, yeah, you can laugh, David. You're barred.
You're Shakespeare.
Yeah, exactly. Very good. I love that.
My friend, you're so kind. You're so kind.
Dazadini says he's sure Team 17 had the license.
What, latterly, you mean?
So latterly. Team 17 Group was a British video game development publisher based in Wakefield.
Oh, okay.
Through the merger of a British publisher, 17-bit software, and Swedish developer Team 7. Their first game, Full Contact, for Amiga.
Full Contact, yes, I remember that.
Oh, they were behind. Team 17 published The Escapists, which is okay, yeah, which is like that was in 2015. So that's a sort of
that's not too far back at all.
No, it's like a top-down game. There's something old school about Escapists. I don't like it. Which is like a sort of top-down game where you're in a prison, and then you have to sort of form allegiances, try to escape, and stuff like that. And it's on the Xbox and other games. So they're still going, apparently.
Well,
but yes,
yeah.
they did. But they did a number of games to the Amiga, apparently, originally in the early days.
Guess what, Clive? You can download Lemmings for Android right now.
Ah.
It's actually available for Android devices. You know what I'm going to be doing after the show?
Yes.
You can get Lemmings Puzzle Adventure. So, well, it is a puzzle anyway.
Is it? It's not a Lemmings speed run, because all Android games seem to be like a speed run.
Yeah, run straight down the middle.
Famous for Worms, yes, David. They are famous for Worms.
Ah, yes, they did do Worms. You're right. That was
Team 17. Yeah,
very similar game.
Yeah.
It looks like it's free on Yeah, said Android, which means it's probably contains ads and offers in-app purchases. Of course it does. But that doesn't look too bad at all, actually. I might be chasing of that one later. Those little tiny lemmings? Yes, definitely. So yeah, it's still going as a franchise, and I'm not surprised because it's a definite. It is a classic.
Yeah, you could see him. You could see him upgrading it. I mean, I don't mean in like full Unity 5, Unreal Engine 5 kind of, bonkers lighting and stuff. I mean, in a sort of just quirky retro style.
It's also available for iOS as well, so you can.
There we go. Even,
on your iPhone.
Even iPhone users can have it. Can't say. Yeah. Okay, chat. So get ready with those voting fingers, ladies and gentlemen. One for iToy. Don't try and influence them with a free phone. I see what you're doing. No bribes. One for iToy, 2 for Lemmings. Start voting away. Chat and let us know what you think is the winner in this week's 64K.
If life gives you lemmings, make lemonade. That's what I say.
Yeah. David said he loved playing Worms on the SNES. Aren't they bringing back Worms? Or some sort of...
Oh, Snakes. They're bringing back the big old Nokia game, aren't they?
Yeah. No, I was thinking Worms itself, the one with it.
It's a very similar game, though, isn't it, Worms, if I remember rightly?
Like Worms on a fight. Isn't that like some sort of fighting games? Where
I remember the Worms had little like helmets on, didn't they?
Yeah, that's all. I remember that on the box.
World War II helmets.
So everybody vote for 1 for iToy, 2 for Lemmings. Let us know your thoughts. David, you are allowed to vote. We know which way you go.
Depending on you, mate.
Yeah. Exactly. But I'm looking for chat. They've fallen. They've gone off. They've lost. Like the Lemmings, they've fallen off the edge. 2 Stadium Mania said Lemmings. Never tried iToy. Lol. Missing out.
No, David's being
David, I
very
respect less void choice. It has to be 2. Yeah, you don't.
Yeah, he's been very diplomatic.
Don't add sugar to the tea. Yeah, don't sugar to the pill. Yeah. It doesn't matter if you wrap the dagger in a silk blanket. Still sticking it in my back.
It is more comfortable.
Yeah. Oh yeah, in fairness, I expected it. iToy is quirky. I just remember that feeling of when it came in the office, and I thought, this is the future. I'm getting this, taking it home. And then we've had things since it's like either, as you say, the Kinect thing for the Xbox, which is a bit of a disaster. And the Wii controllers to a certain extent, the Wii balance boards. We've had these other peripherals, but the iToy was pretty clever and done really well in the package. Yeah.
Did I win then? We only
You
get one vote.
You did. No,
votes.
there was more. It's a democracy.
Do you know? I just found Worms. You know Worms. Yeah,
yes.
We just talked. You can actually get a version which looks really good. But then I read here it says available regions across the globe except South America and Europe. So it's
that might be a rights thing.
Weird.
Yeah.
Doesn't it, though?
Okay, well it looks like it's you again.
Well, that's
I won last week, didn't I?
You did win last week, I think. Yeah.
But I went in with my eyes open. I knew not everybody, but I just was thinking about it this week, and it just came to me, and I just thought, yeah, that was quite cool. I'll go back to more conventional classic games that everybody sort of respects a bit more, maybe next week. But I just thought a bit left field this week.
Very good. Very interesting.
So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Well done to Mr. Rokk for that. Just checking the. That's it. Yeah. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, again for gathering for Generation X Retro Gaming Club. It's always appreciated. Don't forget to hit the likes if you haven't already done. I can see we've had 6 viewers, but only 1 like.
Oh,
Get
come
on with it.
on.
Don't forget to hit the
Have
like.
you not
ladies and
been
gentlemen.
entertained?
Yes, exactly. Don't forget the likes. It's always very useful for us. We much appreciate. We appreciate you all coming here. Thanks for being part of the chat and for joining in. Thanks for putting up for our retro ramblings, as it were, as we've taken another little stroll down memory lane, hopefully, and sparked a few memories, happy memories of times gone past and games gone past. I hope you've enjoyed it. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, it's goodbye from me.
It's goodbye from him. I don't know where the fingers go.
Over here, yeah, I'm pointing in the right place.
Yeah, I know.
You have no idea. The other way. Point to your microphone. That's it. Yay! And it's goodbye. Generation X. Yay! Retro Gaming Club. Goodbye.